Hello and welcome to show, I think it's 280 in a row now. Hi, Mike. How are you? Hi, Mike. How are you?
Hey, yes, and that beep indicates that we're right on time.
Yes, we are. Okay. Of course, we could be right on time and it could be 5 o'clock, but it's not. It's 7. Okay, because it beeps every time. So every hour. This is a picture of what's happened. Well, it's not really a picture. This is a painting. The apostles had been arguing among themselves about who was the greatest apostle of all. And Jesus is kneeling on the floor and washing their feet. It's embarrassing. Sorry.
Yes. And so Dale is looking at that going, my, how dumb you guys are. But how wonderful I am.
No, I'm using this as an illustration of an imperial attitude among some people. They're not public servants.
Yes, that's
right.
What we're talking about.
Okay, so we're going to play back. This is the second Saturday in a row, and we've moved up a year, and now we're playing back clips from 2014. You've seen some of these, or you've heard us refer to them. Some of them are hilarious, others are kind of pathetic, and it's a kind of a fun trip down memory lane while Mike and I hold hands and swing our hands back and forth and say tra-la-la-la. Yeah, buddy.
Wow.
Yes, right. And so we thought it'd be fun for you to see some of these things. We'll do another kind of show tomorrow with cutting edge news and 2 people show up for a protest and that kind of stuff. But today we're going to play back examples of what it's like living with these commissioners. For me, anyway, they're every day and every one of their meetings. And when they treat us so badly. I was at a little meeting this morning and somebody said, so they treat you badly? I said, well, let me give you an example. Keith Eck called me a lying maggot. No. I said, yes. At a public meeting? I said, yes. Well, what did you do? I said, well, he was in the little back room and he was saying to Simon Hare that he didn't want to say the Pledge of Allegiance back there anymore because it's repetitive. They had for years and years and years, but he didn't like it because it was repetitive. So when I posted that video, I posted it without a single word of comment. You don't need a single word of comment. Absolutely nothing. It was just what he said. And he lit into me at the next meeting and called me, I guess, in the tape, lying maggot. Now, how did that tape lie? He didn't like it. He went on KJO and he told them that certain individuals are posting things anonymously. Anonymously? I've never posted anything anonymously ever. I use my full name. It's not Little Red Riding Hood. It's my full name. So there was no need to be anonymous about it. Why would he lie about that? I got to stop asking that question. Okay, so we're going to go straight into the first clip. It's this first one. I tried to pick a slightly amusing one first, and you'll see this is Cheryl Walker taking credit for whatever she can take credit for. Go ahead. The audio is not perfect, but you'll live.
You want to have people fill out slips if they want to speak on the first agenda item so that you know how many people.
For us in land use, it makes it very good to record who is speaking and make sure we get it right. Because sometimes people last names and stuff.
Yeah, just we have their
tangible.
name.
Yep. We don't miss anybody. It's like, oh, wait a second, I got the we didn't have a card.
And we may get into that same issue of people filling out blue cards and then handing them in and having to really clarify this one's only on the forecast, but so
or you could do them in different colors.
Oh.
We'll have different suggestion, have a different colored card for each.
Or that.
Oh, we didn't hear that. Okay.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, sounds a great idea.
They had gone back and forth with each other for several more minutes than this, and they couldn't figure out what the answer was because you could speak on one of 2 different topics, but they couldn't figure out how to divide them up. So I just couldn't help it anymore. I'm there in the room, and I said, well, try different colors. You know, one would be blue and the other would be yellow. And then Cheryl jumps in, oh, wait, I've got a brilliant idea. They could be in different colors. And the city people, much to her chagrin, are saying, oh, well, that's a pretty good idea. It just seems sort of funny to me. Yeah, I say it's an imperial attitude because you can't accept an idea for some stupid person that's in the audience. I mean, they're just the bosses. We're the anointed ones. Okay. So here, go ahead, Mike. Here's another one.
Uh-huh.
Okay. What's one thing? Oh. Mr. Matthews was again bringing up the issue, which has come up almost every single week now for probably 6 weeks that I can recall, in regards to the county providing printed documents. I'm going to quote Mr. Matthews here, quote, "We are slow learners," end quote.
So now what's happening is Cheryl Walker decided 2 weeks ago, I was going to talk about this, to misquote me. See, I've been catching Keith Heck and others making misstatements and then playing them back on videotape. Well, when you say things, we can catch that on tape and play it back. It's not me speaking, it's you. So she completely made up something that I said. Can't catch me saying something stupid, so she made it up completely out of nothing and then made fun of it. Why, when citizens aren't going to say something stupid, all you need to do is pretend they've said something stupid, and then you can get into a back and forth dialogue with yourself about how stupid that was. Except it was completely made up. I went back 6 months of weekly business sessions, and no one said anything close to what Cheryl Walker claimed was said. Now what are we supposed to do? Put up with liars? I guess so.
Anyone else like to say something? Mr. Ford.
Wow, she wasn't messing around.
No, she moved quickly after that. Here's the thing, and this is why it's so insidious, incendiary. Now I brought this up a while back, that the commissioners in the minutes to their meetings, they used to discuss the editing of the minutes because they thought, well, could you put a little bit more, or I'm not quite sure that I said that kind of thing. They don't do that in public anymore. Once Simon Hare got in, he put an end to that. Not going to discuss the editing of the minutes ever again in a public meeting, because we were catching them changing the minutes to the meeting to suit themselves. Did I say that? I don't want to say that in the permanent record. Let's put down that I said this instead. Now, you may think that's a small thing, but what that's now turned into, as you all know, is now they're denying that what we have on tape is accurate at all. Well, that's not what I said. What's on the tape? No, that's not what I said. See, what's distressing about this is you look into the future and you say, if they're going to do this, then they're going to probably do this, and then they're probably going to do that, and that's really bad. Fussing around with the minutes is not a good thing, but most people go, really, who cares? Because they're changing history. Because you don't know what they said. Because they don't like what they said, and they want to change to, I fully believe in such and such, when that's not what they said. They said, well, I don't like it. So this is worse. This is quoting a citizen and saying, well, he said, quote, we are slow learners, end quote. I never said that. Nobody ever said that. Cheryl Walker completely made it up.
I have no response for that. I mean,
this just happened recently.
Maybe she thought she heard that.
Oh, but she quoted it. She said, quote, end quote. We are slow learners. No, nobody said anything close to that. That's like that time when she had the piece of paper in her hand. We must do it this way because the rules say the following, and she's reading from the piece of paper. So I went and I Googled those words. There were not even 2 words on there that matched each. Well, is and the, I guess, matched. Not anywhere in the universe was there anything even close, but I guess she got out of trouble for a few seconds. Did she think that we weren't going to check? Because it was flying in the face of everything that's logical. And she just decided to completely.
I think she.
Go ahead.
I think she probably suspected that no one would check on her.
Like the library. There's pornography easily available to children at the library. No, there's not. I'll assure you that there's not. Well, there was. And then they jumped on me. What are we supposed to do, really? And now what can you do? This is worse. What can you do when a commissioner just completely makes up something? Play the next clip and you'll see it again.
Sandy Cassinelli, Merlin, Oregon. Last week we had a presentation by Ron Fox about all the wonderful things Sorority is doing for the county. During my 3 minutes of public comment, I filled out that presentation by reviewing some of the more abysmal projects in which Sorority was involved. Examples included the Paradise Ranch boondoggle, which cost the county hundreds of thousands of dollars. The exact same rhetoric is now being spewed for the development of the industrial park in the same manner. I brought up Sorority's submittal of a Mismatch Connect Oregon grant for padding invoices to the county and for its insistence that we go to administrative form of governance, even after the electorate had already rejected that concept. I ended up, as usual, with an invitation for comments or questions to me from the commissioners. None had any. But during Commissioner Walker's protected time at the end of the meeting, when no citizen rebuttal was possible, she stated, quote,
as far as Ms. Cassinelli pointing fingers about what are we doing and wasting economic development money, that is not the case. And in case she has forgotten, she managed to get one of her friends' $25,000 grant to build a mineral lab, and there's never been a mineral lab built. So what happened to the $25,000? I think that that's something that people need to understand, that the accusations that she's making are purely for grandstanding.
It was, in fact, Michael Smith from Sorority who made the $25,000 request of the board with the man in question. He was supposedly vetted by Sorority and was not a friend of mine, as she stated.
Cheryl Walker decided that she was going to try to chastise Sandy Cassinelli by making something up. She said that Sandy Cassinelli, as a commissioner, was involved in handing out money to some friends. As a matter of fact, Sandy Cassinelli was the only commissioner that opposed handing out money to those people. It was Sorority, who Cheryl Walker was trying to defend, who brought those people to the commissioners. And they had in mind some kind of scheme where they were going to do some assays and et cetera. And Sandy Cassinelli said, you know, I have an engineering background. This doesn't make any sense to me. I don't think we should give this money to the people, to these people. And the other two commissioners outvoted her. So then for Cheryl Walker to say at this meeting, behind that microphone, after 62 votes of winning, that, oh, by the way, you know, I'm going to say something negative about a citizen. That's despicable.
If no mineral lab was subsequently built, Commissioner Walker might well ask why not at her next Sorority board meeting. In an effort to defame my character, Commissioner Walker actually provided one more excellent example of a Sorority failure. She helped make my point.
That's misuse of power. That's using a microphone to say a lie about somebody. It's bad enough that we get rephrased into things that are not true. It's really bad, it's comical that she picked this example because it's so exactly the opposite that it's fairly ludicrous. So, just to set the record straight, Sandy Cassinelli did not hand out money to her friends. Some of you may be doing that now, but that's not what she did. Simon Hare said it didn't matter whether Manor Development out at the airport, what their background was. Manor Development, Larry Osborne was one of the prime contributors, the top contributor to Simon Hare's campaign. But he never announced that. He didn't say, I have a potential conflict of interest. So it's not Sandy Cassinelli that did it. She was doing the opposite. I don't know what we're going to do about this. Because when we have a commissioner that sits up there using that microphone and tells people on live television and in the audience a complete, absolute, utter lie.
What? I want to know what the end of the sentence was.
And then I went and sat down, as far as I recall. Look, the thing is, one other little note here. Sandy Cassinelli did end up agreeing to take a risk on these guys, but they weren't friends of hers. She was the only person that had questioned all this and questioned it a lot, and then she kind of went along with the crowd at that moment. Turns out that maybe wasn't the best thing to do, but, sometimes you not go along to get along, but sometimes maybe you say, well, maybe somebody knows something I don't know. Not in this case. So the weirdest part about it is that Cheryl was using this as an example of why So Ready is wonderful and why Sandy Cassinelli is not. And it was exactly the opposite. It wasn't Sandy that brought it to anybody. It was So Ready that brought it to us.
I'm dying to hear a economic development success story.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
really.
Well, you've heard a couple of them mentioned, but they didn't work out. Look, don't lie about people. They're using their protected time. I made up that term, and I think it's an accurate one. They use their protected time then to jump on people, and you can't say anything. So we had to wait a week and then come in, and Sandy said that, and I said this. I was wearing a T-shirt that said, if you can't hear, here's the number to call, because somebody else brought in a sign, and, oh, you can't show a sign. You can't show a sign. So I wore a T-shirt.
Yes, right. I remember when I first came and started saying things at these meetings, and it finally occurred to me, oh, this is how this thing works. You get to say something, and you have 3 minutes to say it. I usually would do it in a minute or whatever, and then they wait 15, 20 minutes, and then they get to barrage you 1, 2, 3. And I remember when it first happened, I went, this is a stupid system. Shut up, Mr. Jones. I thought, wow, what a horrible thing. They get to, first of all, I think Cheryl, anytime somebody gets up there and says something that she doesn't like, her attendance at the meeting, she might as well not even be there, because she's spending the rest of the time composing how she's going to slam dunk you in her protected time, where no one else can rebut her or anything until the following week. And I remember I came back and did this rebuttal thing one time. I thought, this is the stupidest thing. I'm not going to do this, because you come in and you rebut what's there, and then they go, so what, or whatever, and then throw something back at you that you're going to have to write down and come back in a week. It's just silly.
The latest one that's happened, this one is great. I'm sorry, I'm trying to maintain a good attitude about it. Okay, I'm trying. So I got up and Cheryl was saying that in dealing with county fire and rescue over in Merlin, the Merlin fire guys.
And county fire and security.
That's what I'm trying to say. Okay. So she was saying, well, what happens when someone comes to your front door and they're all pedophiles? It's a strange thing. And so, I'm thinking, like I said on this show last night, I hope you'll let them put out the fire first, but yeah, maybe that's not ideal unless you don't have any children in the house, which Cheryl doesn't. Okay, so I'm not sure it would matter, although that's kind of repugnant, of course. So anyway, I got up at a subsequent meeting and I said, and this is what she said. She got really angry. She said, I never said that. Okay. And then she repeated my phrase, quote, unquote kind of stuff. Mr. Matthews got up here and said, now remember what I said. I was repeating what she said. What happens if they come to your door and they're all pedophiles? Mr. Matthews just said to you that all firefighters are pedophiles.
Yes, or something along those lines.
That's Cheryl's famous straw man. That's not what I said. But this is the best that she can do. What else is she going to say? Yes, that was a stupid thing for me to say. She could. But she's got to make it into something which is totally, absolutely, completely false. When I make this video of her, of me, of her, you're going to laugh. Mike will laugh. That's all we can do, I suppose. But there's only one solution for these guys, and it's biblical. 40 years marching in the desert. And then you have a new generation. That's all that's left.
So the closest desert we got around here is like Eastern Oregon. We could ship them out there. Is that what you're saying?
You'll never be able to teach them.
Yes.
What are you going to teach them? Don't lie. Don't exaggerate. Don't make fun of people. Don't speak in your protected time. Be fair about stuff. That's too many things to teach these old guys. They're not going to learn anything. And Simon's an old guy too, even if he's not an old guy, because he's done it too. Anyway, here's the next video. These are all perfect examples of the imperial attitude that they have. It's great.
Where's the story in the Daily Courier about the $100,000 plus cost overrun for the Demic